Hello, everybody, and welcome to Roundtable Live for June 15th, 2018. I'm Bear Taffy. That's Mathis Games over there. So yeah, I'm not going to try this thing again, but you know where they are. Mathis Games, Rockley, Smile, Northern Line. Welcome back, boys. How's it going?
Okay, good.
Hello.
Hey. Going good. It's post E3 time, boys and girls. We've got tons of stuff to talk about. It only takes about 6 months into the year before the topics begin to roll in for our show. It's a nice slow burn, but we finally got there. E3 is wrapped up, so we'll talk about every single conference in chronological order here on the show. But we got a few things to talk about before that as well. Primarily, Sony continues to be a little baby bitch blocking Fortnite crossplay between the PS4 and the Nintendo Switch.
Wow.
Nice rhyme, Bear. Thanks, Bear.
Strong language.
Right?
It sounded good, though, at least, so there's that. Realm Royale as well is the new... you know the phrase, hotness sweeping the nation and all that stuff. It's taken over another PUBG which is what those are called now. It did, yeah. It absolutely dominated.
What, this week
Fortnite.
It took over?
That's right. Yeah. I don't know if you realize we just switch. First of all, call back to the Switch, but then again, we need to realize the pace of these battle royale games. It's unlike anything you've ever seen before. First it was PUBG, then it was Fortnite, now it's Realm Royale. Next week it's going to be something we haven't even seen yet.
What it actually is the Fortnite
too.
Streamers being like, finally, I can justify playing something else for a week, and then they play Realm Royale until a patch comes out that nerfs something, and then they go back to Fortnite, and that's the real test for a battle royale. Is like week 2.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we know one that didn't quite make it there, unfortunately, but. We'll see how
the
it
one
goes,
that they're getting a sequel?
Yeah, weirdly enough, man. Let's talk about that for just a brief second here. The fact that the Culling 2 is actually a thing that's happening. The original game came out in early access, of course, in 2015, but it came out officially, right, 1.0 this year.
Yeah,
not even too long ago, like a few months ago, I think. So it's weird to me that they would announce it so quickly after that. But it also just makes so much sense and reeks of, well, this is still working, so let's try again.
The one thing I will say, if you're optimistic about the Culling 2, you need to check yourself.
Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
There was a period when I liked the Culling quite a lot. I was even playing it in my casual time. And then they ruined it over and over and over. So the fact they're coming out with a sequel, I'm not optimistic. If it turns out, it turns out. But people are like, I can't wait to see what they do with the Culling 2. I'm like, no.
We didn't really see anything either. We got a spinning graphic again, which I'm pretty sure has been the extent of it so far. And that's becoming the norm now. It's like, once you got a logo, all right, cool, we're good. We're ready to go. You got all the time you need. We're ready.
What needs to be done with the culling to make it fun?
They need
Flip it upside down.
Stick with so the new one is made by a different developer, so it's still being published by Xaviance, but it's being developed by the team that made Lichdom Battle Mage, the first-person casting game.
I remember that. Yeah,
That was an enjoyable game for what it was.
It had a noticeable image on Steam. Yes,
just kind of fizzled out a little bit though.
So I mean, I don't know. We don't need to talk about the culling for too long, but the rock paper scissors combat was good until they completely changed it and alternately made blocking too powerful, pushing too powerful, attacking too powerful, and then never ever settling on any kind of equilibrium until they had no people playing the game, and then the queues took 9.5 minutes each, and then everyone was like, H1Z1 queues only take 4 minutes. It was a different era.
And then PUBG queues were instant, and all of a sudden things really started changing.
Literally, you accidentally got into queues.
Yeah.
You couldn't cancel it once you were in it. So that's the evolution of the genre right now.
Right. Anyway, taking that natural segue into account here, let's talk a little bit more about Fortnite, because why not? That's the kind of thing we do these days. Sony, as I mentioned, just being the bully on the block these days, continually blocking crossplay between the PS4 and other consoles. It does allow PC crossplay at the moment, but between the PS4 and the Switch is a no-go. Of course, people are noticing this now because the Switch just announced their their version of Fortnite, which has already amassed over 2 million downloads, shocking absolutely nobody. However, if you have already logged on to your Epic account on the PS4, you can't play with it on the Switch. It is completely locked out. You have no option to do so. And as would be expected, people are not happy about this. So much so that Sony's shares have actually started to slide a little bit as a result. That's the kind, think about that. That's the kind of power Fortnite has right now. Because of this, Sony's actual shares are going down. That's crazy. That's a huge impact. So obviously people aren't happy about it, but they have put out a statement already about it, basically saying nothing at all. They were like, oh, we love that people are looking for more opportunities to play together, and we here at PlayStation are always looking to the future for... They're not actually addressing the issue at all. They're just being ridiculous. So it sucks, but I don't know if we can really expect anything different until like the marketplace changes, right? That's kind of the same drum we've been beating up to this point.
I think it's okay for Sony to block crossplay when they have a competitive advantage that gives kind of like it disproportionately benefits Microsoft specifically to allow crossplay. The problem for me in this specific case is like if you've ever used your Epic account on PS4, you can't use it on Switch. And the Switch version only existed as of like 4 days ago. Yeah. So I think that's a unique situation that people, they do have a right to be sort of at least a little annoyed about, because, you know, you don't want to make a new account and then, you know, have to look like a free skin player.
It sounds petty, right, when you put it that way, but it seriously is like, it's a big issue for people who have, like, this is probably the main game for a lot of people, right? And they put a ton of time into leveling up their character, getting all these items and all this shit. That is tough to get, but, you know, or not tough in that it takes a little while to actually acquire the stuff. But it's frustrating, I'm sure, for these people. It's got to be an issue.
I think, like, if they were like, if you play on Switch, you can't play with PS4 players, that's fine. Yeah. Like, that's the norm. And I think it wouldn't even be a news story. But being unable to get your account on Switch is a different story. Yeah, that's a little bit more egregious, I think.
How much of the blame do you think falls on Epic? Because they knew that was going to be the case.
They should have at least, like, let people know in advance.
Right.
Because you're right, that they probably have to have known that this was going to be the case, that Sony was going to put this block in effect when the Switch version came out. So, yeah, I think a little bit of the blame has to go Epic's way, or at least to fault them for not properly allowing their audience time and or notice in advance to be able to act accordingly, right?
Maybe they were trying to negotiate all the way down to the end and then it just didn't happen. So they didn't want to tell people because that would really disappoint them. And they thought maybe they'd have good news, and instead it didn't work out.
Yeah, maybe. Like, I mean, just it's maybe giving a little too much credit for them in that circumstance.
But I'm sure they wanted that. So I'm sure. Surprised if they weren't at least pushing for it, you know?
Cynical me says they didn't tell anybody because it would affect the downloads, and then they couldn't say 2 million downloads on day one or whatever.
I mean, I don't know if it was going to be any lower than that, really.
Yeah.
It's just, it's a disease at this point, man. It cannot be fucking stopped. Yeah, so it's a bit of a downer still. Sony's still playing hardball with everybody with this situation. And, of course, Fortnite's going to be the game that blows it out of proportion a little bit and makes everybody aware of the fact that it is still happening.
Well, it's also interesting because the Switch is like, it's not bigger than the PS4, but, like, it has a chance to be. Like, it's kind of unprecedented, basically, the speed at which it's selling. So when Sony is like, we don't want to let you play crossplay with Microsoft, I totally get it, because, you know, Microsoft has sold like 1/8 the number of console units or whatever. So they kind of get a disproportionate advantage. But with the Switch, it's almost like, you know, it's a little bit more of a shot across the bow, I think.
Yeah, agreed. So, I'm actually wondering that, too, as you just mentioned. Like, I wonder whether the Switch is on pace to begin to threaten the PS4 in that regard. I feel like it's a possibility at this point. We'll see.
Do any of you guys feel like this whole thing is a bit blown out of proportion, since it's a free game and really, like, nothing really changes about the gameplay if you have to make a new account? Is this just me that I feel that? Because I feel like people are losing their minds about this issue.
I mean, on a personal level, I feel like, I guess I would probably feel the same. But kind of going back to what Bear said, for a lot of people, this is probably their game. And they have an attachment to their account and all the stuff that they've earned or bought. And they want to be able to show that off. It's a lot of, like, skins, so...
No, I know, but, like, the skins are cosmetic, and it doesn't change anything about the game. If you have to make a new account, sure, that's inconvenient, it's annoying, but... You can still play it on Switch. You just can't use your account.
The thing that's annoying, I think, is like you almost opted in accidentally.
Exactly.
Without, and I think most people, if they own a PS4 and a Switch, they probably, and they came out concurrently with Fortnite for both, they probably would have chosen to play it on the Switch just because it's the new hotness, right?
And they've got the mobile capability, which
they can play it in bed. And I don't know. I don't think it has gyro aim, but like, you know, I think it probably for a lot of people would have been the preferable choice. So I think that's where people are like, well, unfortunately, I've accidentally gated myself to what might be like my unpreferred platform. But I agree. I don't think it's a huge issue, but I think it's unfortunate, I guess. And it's not even so much the crossplay. It's like the account locking that bothers me for the most part.
For sure.
I'm not even upset at them for being upset. It's more just the people that are like, this is the last straw, Sony. I'm only playing on Microsoft now. Like,
I'm with you in that it's blown out of proportion, exactly. But as I mentioned, I think it's the fact that there's not going to be a lot of sorry, I've completely mulled this thought. Like the people that are upset about this, I think are the ones that are, again, it's their main game, probably like younger people who are concerned about being able to look the way they want, which it sounds petty when you take it at face value, but these are the kind of things that people get upset about, and the kind of things that when people get upset about this en masse, Sony loses value as a company, which is like, it's crazy. When you really connect the dots like that, it's like, they prevented 14-year-old kids from being able to play with the skins they wanted on the Switch. Therefore, their company's share value dropped significantly. That's what it ultimately boils down to. So yeah, when you think about it that way, it is definitely blown out of proportion. But anyway, that's the gist of it. We'll see whether or not Sony continues to play hard to get as we move forward here. Let's talk a little bit more about Battle Royale, because hey, there we go. Gotta do it. Realm Royale, in fact. New game from Hi-Res Studios, the team behind. I should know this. I definitely
Smite and
Paladins. That's the other one. Yeah, that's the one that just came out on the Switch as well, right? So there you go. They're making all kinds of waves. But of course, Realm Royale is the new early access game available on the PC. Isn't there anything else, or is it just on Steam right now?
I do not know.
I think it's only on Steam right now, or only on PC at the moment. Okay, so we'll see whether or not that's going to be coming to other consoles. But at the moment, just early access on Steam, free-to-play game. Ryan and Nick have tried a little bit of it this week. So Ryan, let me hear your thoughts about it so far.
I think Realm Royale is like competent. Okay. It's enough of a spin-off of the Battle Royale formula that it's not just a fast follow, but it's pretty close, in my opinion. And that's fine. Like it's like Fortnite in terms of its gunplay, but then on top of that, it has instead of building, which most people I think are coming to the point where they agree that it's extremely annoying. I think it's really refreshing to be playing a game like this that is hit scan for the most part, and also as soon as you shoot at somebody, you can actually kill them without them building a skyscraper. So it's like it's a fresh take on the genre in that way, but. Basically, the other thing that's unique about it is that there's class abilities. So there's 5 different classes. The only one I've really spent time with is the engineer. And when you loot, you actually get abilities that are in tiers the same way guns are, like common, uncommon, rare, epic, legendary. So you can get like turrets and you can get shields and stuff like that, almost like Overwatch class abilities. And then the secondary thing that happens with it is you can convert loot that you don't want into crafting materials. And then there's these areas in the game called forges where you can craft armor, you can craft legendary weapons, legendary abilities, and then that's the way you kind of gear up for those final fights to try to get to the win. But it's really, it's like a almost more casual version of Fortnite in my opinion, which is fine. But it's not. I'm not like completely sold on it, but I've played maybe like 2.5 hours, and I'm like, I'm lukewarm, but like in a good way on it, I guess.
Gotcha.
You're like just above lukewarm. Well, I don't even know what you would call that.
Would you call it like, since Paladins is to Overwatch, is this what like the Paladins to Fortnite?
Yeah, I think that's fair. And the thing, it's free and it's pretty fun is where I come down to it. Like I can't see myself putting 200 hours into it, but like it seems totally fine. I can see why people would.
Nick, how did you feel about it?
For me, for whatever reason, it just kind of clicked as this is what I've been looking for in a battle royale that I would enjoy.
Yeah.
If I was summarizing it to somebody that hadn't seen it, I would say the gameplay is like Fortnite without building, and the graphics look like WoW. Yeah. So it just kind of is that.
Yeah.
But they, like Brian said, put enough of a spin on it with the disenchanting and the forging that it's got like another kind of a caveat to the gameplay that makes it just a little bit on its own. And they stripped away some of the stuff that I found to be superfluous. The enemy or the weapon variety seems like there's enough going on, and I like that there's like a master weapon that you can get to kind of guarantee that every game, as long as you perform reasonably well, you'll get a good weapon.
Yeah, that's gotta like. I imagine that's kind of going to be a critical factor in what makes these games stick, is whether or not there's like a level enough playing field for everybody to be able to feel like they can kill something before they die. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that's actually the case in PUBG and Fortnite right now. I think it's pretty common for newer players to just continuously die immediately when they encounter someone new.
I don't know what happened, but we have had games like when Nick Hafu and I were playing on Monday. We had games where like I got 7 kills, Nick got 7 kills, like
yeah.
And I don't know if it's just that all the good people have been vacuumed up by other battle royales, but or if it's that accessible that even without really knowing the intricacies of the combat.
I hope it would be, yeah, because
yeah.
That's the kind of game I think we need here. Is this, and like you're saying, then that certainly sounds like it would be even a more casual Fortnite, which I think there's a lot of people looking. There might be a lot of people looking for an experience like that.
I like the chicken system as well. I mean, it sounds silly to say, but when you get killed, instead of getting knocked, as is usually the case, you can fly around and kind of just flap around. It gives you a chance to run behind something and maybe actually come back. And you don't need intervention from a teammate. You just get a timer. I think it's like 35 seconds, which is pretty long if somebody's trying to get you.
I love, like, I've been watching a couple streams of it, and I love watching Hafu chase around somebody as a chicken that's just like dancing around buildings and fun stuff. Like, that is a pretty neat element of it.
It's trickier to shoot them than you would expect, or at least I found it to be. So there's a chance you'll come back, which is nice.
Any other thoughts, Ryan? Just generally enjoyed it. That was okay.
Okay, put another tally mark up. Get ready. It's another battle royale, and it's pretty okay.
Just wait till Call of Duty battle royale comes out.
Well, we got guaranteed Battlefield battle royale.
That's true.
So we know that's going to be a thing.
Also, you get a mount, which is actually kind of significant because it means you can move more quickly all the time.
Yeah.
And the queue times were fast, and the game performed fine. I didn't really have any lag issues. The class system also gave it a little bit of something to look forward to. Whether you can phase through bullets or jump really high. It was kind of cool.
Yeah. Great. I'm glad you enjoyed it, man. It's good to hear that there's a battle royale game that was to your taste.
Yeah. Seems fun.
It's free to play. It's Realm Royale. It's in early access on Steam now. It just came out 10 days ago. So
cool.
More than likely still going to be going through some bugs there. Well, actually, did you guys run into a lot of issues, bugs, like glitches, crashes, anything like that?
We had any?
No. Just terrain stuff. Like, you can tell it's a work in progress. Some things are janky, but like even Paladins was janky.
Yeah.
Like, on your horse, you can ride like 88 degrees straight up.
Oh.
And be fine.
Skyrim riding, right?
Yeah. And like, there's some stuff, I don't know if it's like ignorance of the way that I handle the game, but like sometimes you hero land and sometimes you don't land with the hero landing. But when you hero land, you're like locked out of movement for half a second or something like that. And I don't know what controls it, but I don't know if that's a bug or if I just don't understand how it's supposed to work.
Huh. All right, cool. Realm Royale, it's available now. Mathis, tell me all about Jurassic World Evolution, please.
Sure. Jurassic World Evolution is the next park management game by Frontier. Frontier did Planet Coaster most recently, and before that, and they're still working on Elite Dangerous. Basically, it is, I guess, similar to Operation Genesis. I've never played Jurassic Park or Jurassic Operation Genesis, which is kind of a cult hit from the SNES Genesis era, I believe, where you manage a dinosaur park like Jurassic Park. And it's the same idea here. You start with an island and you genetically engineer some dinos and throw them in a park and have people come in and spend money and try and make as much money as you can, all the while sending out like excavation teams to find fossils where you can extract dino DNA out of to make new dinosaurs. And then if you really want to, you can fiddle with the genetics of a dinosaur to give them like tougher scales, which will, make them statistically tougher if they ever get into a fight, but also people want to see, the new dinosaur. It takes on that kind of capitalist thing from Jurassic World, the first one, the movie. And while it's incredibly gorgeous, it is very, very pretty. And the dinosaurs are well animated and the voice acting is pretty dang good. I find it really shallow. very similar to Planet Coaster in that it's all kind of a nice, pretty surface, but if you know, dip your toe into the water, it doesn't go much past your heel. There's just not much going on there. The difficulty really isn't there yet. I don't know if it ever shows up. It's just too easy. It's just very, very easy, and there's not a lot there. And for someone, I get that. I'm sure there's a lot of people who are going to love this game, and I think the reviews mostly say the game is great, and I can agree with them, I guess, on what they say, but I want something a little bit more difficult or complicated or deep in my management games, and Jurassic World Evolution lacks that pretty heavily. It also lacks some really weird features, like the ability to speed up or slow down time to keep things going. You are always...
really? That seems like it's got to be a given in games like this.
But it's not there. It just isn't there, which is kind of strange, and I don't understand why. It's just little things like that. I'm just kind of... leave me on, I guess, a lukewarm feel on the game overall. Ryan,
not even a warm water feeling?
No, like, I not even a warm water feeling. Like, I'm having fun with it, and I know I'm having fun with it, but I feel like I'm gonna burn out on it as fast or even a little faster than I did with Planet Coaster, because there's just nothing to keep me playing. It's very much a sandbox style, just make the park you want. Don't worry about anything, because you can't really fuck up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think your criticisms are pretty fair. Like, I've only got 90 minutes in it so far, but I had a good time with it. The one thing I want to point out is, like, it's pretty expensive.
It's $60, yeah.
Yeah, like, I paid $60 for this game.
They didn't get any of the voice actors for their characters except for Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, there's Jeff Goldblum and then, like, fake Chris Pratt and fake Bryce Dallas Howard. Like,
yep.
I get it. Like, the game is very, very fan servicey. It really lacks a lot of, like, if you're going into it being like, you know, I want to manage, even in Planet Coaster, you know, you had a little bit more fine-grained control over, like, the prices of things, and that made more of a difference. In this, it's really like build a fence and then, you know, put some dinosaurs in it, and then as you send out more and more expeditions, you're like, oh, I like that dinosaur. It's a Triceratops. I remember that one. And you, like, let it free. Like, there's not that much it doesn't seem like there's that much managerial depth to it. And the other thing that I found a little annoying is I feel like a lot of the stuff that you do in the game is just busy work. Like, whenever there's like a catastrophe in the park and you actually have to manage it yourself, I get that that's like the game. That point is not lost on me. But I'm like, if all I'm doing is going over and hitting R and then taking the chopper and going like, hey, chopper, like, trank that dude and then put him here.
And then they miss 6 shots in a row.
Right, and they're $20,000 each, but no big deal. But it's like that stuff, if it's so automatic like that, I don't want to do it. I want to have that stuff be managed for me. The same thing with, like, I found myself constantly feeling like I was babysitting research, which finishes super quickly, and then expeditions go out and they come back within like 2 minutes, and then you send out another expedition. Every time an expedition comes out, you want to check the fossils that you have, and then you want to do the research on the fossils or sell them if it's just, you know, petrified dinosaur poop. So I found like a lot of the time that I was playing the game was mindless.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I was also like, I was having a pretty good time just watching the dinosaurs. As superficial as that might sound, like, when you release a new dinosaur and you, like, it's like having like 15 Tamagotchis, basically, where you're like, every single one of these is my son, and like, I want them to thrive, and whenever any of their meters get into the red, you're like, I'm a bad parent.
It's always nice to hear these little samples of humanity come from you.
It's like the game knows that that's its strongest suit, though, because there's like 5 different ways you can look at the dinosaurs up close.
Yeah,
like, you got the free cam, you can follow the helicopter, you can follow the Jeep up close, you can manually pilot a Jeep, you can take pictures and make money for taking pictures. Like, there's just, the game's like, yeah, this is the kind of the best part of the game, so just do this a lot.
Yeah. I think it's good, but I don't think it's worth $60.
I'm with you.
I played it.
Sorry, don't let me.
Well, yeah.
The deluxe edition is $60.
I only played like an hour and a half, so I'm still pretty on the early side. But like, I haven't even unlocked the second island. But
it's weird because they almost realize, like, there's no challenge. How can we make this challenging? Oh, tornadoes. And like, a storm can kick up and then just a tornado can just rip through your park and just unleash all the dinos and be like, there you go. Now you got something to do. And it's like, oh, all right. Well,
I think it's like in the end, people want like two different things, or maybe more than two different things from these games. Like some people in a tycoon game, it's all about the theme, and that's what they care about. I want to make an amusement park. I want to make a zoo. I want to be like a railway planner or whatever you end up doing, right? And then there's other sorts of people, and I think Mathis and I are both on this side, where we're like a little like 15% spreadsheety, where we're like, I want to manage like the actual enjoyment of the game comes from almost like the economic side of it. Like I want to make a park that makes money and then also has some cool stuff in it as an aside. And this game kind of succeeds more at the fan servicey theming side than it does at the managerial side.
And maybe I'm just speaking from ignorance, but I sit back and go, why can't you just do both? Why can't you have a mode of sandbox where you have infinite money and you can just build what you want and have fun with it, and then have the campaign
that presents the difficulty.
Yeah,
right?
and just play like a game where there's some challenge and you start with nothing and you have to earn money to make this cool park. I just wish there was both, but there's not. And any Planet Coaster was the same way. Like its campaigns were kind of a joke.
Do you think it's possible some of these features didn't make it into the game because they needed to release it before Fallen World comes out?
It's possible. Like I would fully believe that that's why it's missing some simple shit like the ability to pause the game or speed up time or slow down time and deal with things like that. I do wonder if the managerial aspect was ever planned, because Planet Coaster never had it, and that just might be the way Frontier does that style of game, which, you know, this might be the game to hammer home.
An if it ain't broke mentality. This
just might be the game for me to hammer home that Frontier's manager style simulation games are just not for me fully anyway.
Yeah, totally.
But keep in mind, Planet Coaster is still getting regular support and updates and, you know, little bits and bobs, so it's quite possible this will get features added for a year.
Yeah, and I
If
hope
they're
it
into
does.
that.
Because
Again,
again, please,
Planet Coaster, I thought it was closer to my ideal. Like there was light management aspects. Where the game fell apart for me was basically in the way that they simulated foot traffic, which sounds like a nuanced topic, but really what would happen sometimes is you would place down like a gift shop and everybody in the park would line up for the same gift shop. And you were just like, well, not only is it unrealistic, but it's kind of breaking the game. Because people are getting in line for 8 hours to buy a hat. And then when they're in the line, they're like, I'm hungry. I'm thirsty. I need to go to the bathroom. I'm not having fun.
Why isn't there any food here?
Yeah. I'm like, get out of the line. It's like, it's just like, well, I know Mathis says it a lot, but it's like it's as wide as a pool, but as shallow as a puddle, or whatever. Wide as an ocean, shallow as a puddle. The traffic simulation for the people, at first you're like, oh, it's really cool. Like, look at that. You just put something new up and then they're going to go to it. But then you realize that it just looks good and it like actually doesn't behave like it's supposed to behave at all.
There's a restaurant behind them and they're just like, but I got to get the hat.
And then also like, if you had more than 4,000 or 5,000 people in your park, it just slowed down to like a crawl. So... But
same if you just made too complex roller coasters or just too many rides, it just couldn't handle the frame rate.
Yeah,
which is pretty reasonable, but also like I wish there was a way around that.
Yeah,
it just puts like an asymptote on being able to play the game, because you're like, well, I just unlocked like the final things in the tech tree, but I can't even play anymore because the frame rate is like 10 FPS. So
it almost
I guess
seems
that's
like
the
end.
end.
A fog of war around your cursor or something just to make the game playable again.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's poorly optimized. They're simulating a lot, but I'm sure they could have done like some tricks to just make it go better. But what do I know? I guess
nothing. Jurassic World Evolution.
Yeah.
$55 on Steam right now. There you go. All right, let's get into it. E3 2018 recap. We've got a beautiful website that we'll be using ourselves, and you can go ahead and follow along with us over there as well if you'd like. 2018.e3recap.com, which is a website that has been going for a few years now, and we highly, highly appreciate whoever is responsible for creating this because it's beautiful. But we're going to use this and talk about every single conference going in chronological order, and let's go ahead and start it off with EA, that conference that none of us watched and we assumed we knew the content of, right?
Madden, Call of Duty,
Wait, I watched
Forza.
Oh, you did watch it. All right,
That was
so
Microsoft.
EA conference.
Nothing really happened.
Madden, Call of Duty.
Yeah, no, there were like
Star
two
Wars.
things worth actually paying attention to, and that was the moment where they showed a little bit of Unravel and then a little bit of a discussion on Sea of Solitude. And I know my bias is showing because it was mostly sports games, but there just wasn't really much going on at all.
I have a genuine question about the current year of sports games, because it's Madden 19, NBA Live 19, FIFA 19, right? Genuine, actual question. Do you think the developers of these games just don't give a shit this year because they know that next year is like the big time Madden 20 NBA Live? Like, that's the one that everyone's going to care about. This one doesn't actually matter, right?
Maybe.
I don't think they're going to be able to just release this and everyone forget about it.
They put Madden on PC. That's a big deal, right?
That is a big, no, that's cool. Yeah, genuinely, that's cool. So I'm just like, I'm wondering whether or not you guys think it's possible that they are really employing that mentality of like, we just got to get this one done and then we really dive into Madden 20.
Maybe.
I think the only one that matters is like the first one on new gen.
Yeah.
Like when it comes to sports games, I'm usually like, and they usually mess up like the first one. Maybe the second one on new gen is right, but like,
wasn't the big selling point for Madden on the first one on the 360 era was like simulated grass?
Oh. You can see the wind blow through it.
Yeah, exactly. I remember that.
I mean, I usually expect pretty much every game past like the second one on the new hardware to just be roster updates.
Yeah.
And then like incremental stuff nobody cares about, like real vision cones and
hit
like,
stick.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, for me,
Unravel 2 looks great though too.
Yeah, Unravel isn't the thing that I heard that kind of excited me a little bit, but I don't think we saw anything. Wasn't Respawn working on a new Star Wars single player game? And
Yeah,
Respawn's the
Jedi
people
Fallen Order.
Yeah, Fallen Order, which takes place between episodes 3 and 4, which is cool. And then, but they're the same people who did Titanfall, and Titanfall's single player campaign was actually pretty fucking great.
Titanfall 2 single player campaign, great.
It was really good. So
Mhm.
for people who are like, but they only do Titanfall, dude, the single player campaign for the second game was dope. Like, I hope it's so. I'm kind of excited to see what that is, since it's not DICE doing Battlefront 2 loot box edition. So
yeah, cool. Well, there we go. Of course, they're making Anthem as well. Their version of Destiny.
Anthem. Right.
Did you guys get to check out Command and Conquer Rivals? Because that looked really bad.
That's the mobile game, right?
I heard a lot of people getting really upset about it.
They devoted a good 10-15 minutes of stage time to two people pretending to be excited about a really shitty looking mobile game. And then at the end, they said it was Command and Conquer, and it kind of blew my mind because it didn't look like it at all.
You might be wondering what franchise we're shitting on. It's Command and Conquer. God damn it.
That was a low point for me. Anyway.
Yeah, unfortunate. Little brief bit about Sea of Solitude. I want to know what you know about it.
Very little. It really they talked about their passion for development, and that was cool. And then they showed a little bit of footage, and it looked a lot like that game I played, Submerged. If you remember, there's like a lady paddling a boat around a sunken city. It looked a lot like that, and then there were like actual demons, like shadow monsters that were on some of the buildings.
It made me think of Papa Yo for some reason.
Yeah, I forgot about that game.
I didn't get any real hint as to what exactly the gameplay loop of it is, though. It just looked like she was exploring the city, and there really wasn't much footage. It was maybe less than a minute.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
Let's move on to Microsoft then. They had a few decent things this year, certainly. Like Gears Pop. Gears of War Funko Pop edition. Got to be stoked for that. And then, they did show Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, which is not an exclusive, but is certainly exciting all the same. The new From Software game looks quite good.
Cuphead DLC.
They got the Cuphead DLC, yeah, which is 2019, right? I believe, yeah. So that's exciting. It was someone on Nick when you and I were doing the Microsoft stream. Someone was saying that they just wish, it might have even been you saying this, they wish that the animation for this didn't take so damn long.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah.
Because it's so beautiful, but like, goddamn, it really limits them in content production.
Yeah, you beat the boss in like 90 seconds.
And it took like 4 years to finish.
Yeah. I certainly appreciate the dedication to the artwork. I mean, it's certainly what made the game what it is. So, I wouldn't compromise it. It's just, damn, I wish there was more.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, they got Halo Infinite, which we also don't know a lot about, but it's a new Halo game that isn't Halo 6. So
what do we know about it?
Here, nothing.
Very, very little.
My guess is it's just a stab in the dark, just following the trend of games. It is going to be some sort of games as a service, online style.
Has to be
like Halo game. Whether
the name is Halo Infinite, for God's sake. Yeah. This is like they're hoping this is going to last forever.
Yeah, true. Yeah, true.
I want to hit peak cynicism.
Yeah,
but it's not about Halo.
Okay.
Oh, good.
sorry to butt in, but my least favorite kind of announcement is what they did for Battletoads. Where
what was it? What they do?
Well, they basically just they had like a minute-long trailer that slowly teased out the fact that it was Battletoads as the realization dawns on the audience. It's Battletoads. Is it fucking Battletoads, dude? Is this? And then the logo flops up, and then it's like, it's a new Battletoads. It means, is it like the Fallout 76 or the Elder Scrolls 6 one? People are like, you got to be a little bit cynical because they didn't show any gameplay. They just showed the map. If you're cynical about the Elder Scrolls 6, the last one of those came out in 2011. Last Battletoads came out in 1930. So if you find yourself getting excited about Battletoads just from the announcement trailer that's the logo, that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
This is just preying on nostalgia. 100%.
Preying on the meme specifically.
Yeah, they just crashed into a wall in the speed bike zone, and that was like the whole...
Remember how hard the game was?
That sucked ass. Boy, oh boy.
I want to DAE you and say that there was a Battletoads for SNES at least.
There was Battletoads in Battle Maniacs.
Yeah. Was there one after that on Game Boy Advance or something? Because I feel like that could have been possible.
That wouldn't surprise me.
But yeah, 1930-ish. That's about right.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Many years ago.
They had Terry Crews yell at us for 5 minutes about Crackdown 3. That was fun.
Cool.
Yeah. Fallout 76 was shown a little bit there. We'll talk about that later. This was the one they focused a little bit more on We Happy Few, right, Nick? Which was weird because that game came out or kind of came out and, puttered away and lost interest.
Yeah, it was all about that everyone was kind of misled. We didn't really know what kind of game it was. I don't want to say intentionally misled, but their PR certainly hinted at it being a different kind of game than what it was revealed to be as once gameplay started floating around. And it seemed like most people that I knew they were completely out once they saw what it was or got to try it in an early form. And they just got a bigger marketing budget, but I don't see why we would be excited about it now.
Yeah, it's a tough sell at this point. Like I said, when we were watching the show, like they've already sort of established themselves and they're trying to like they're putting on a fresh coat of paint a little bit, but it's tough to mask everything that they've already put out. Pun.
We Happy Few came out the problem with We Happy Few, because I played the alpha when it came out because it's supposed to be a survival style game, and it was like a new style of survival because it was pills and all this stuff. I just remember playing it and being like, this game barely functions. Like, it was so early in the alpha that it was barely working. Everything was like completely broken. The balance was completely off, and you would die so fast that it left such a bad taste in people's mouth that everybody dropped it. Then they got purchased, I think, or they got funded from a producer. They got basically scooped up, and they got delayed because of it, but they got a huge infusion of cash from it, and they were like, we're gonna go quiet for a little while. Gearbox is publishing it. That's right, Gearbox picked it up after they came out in early access, and they're like, all right, well, we're gonna go back to the drawing board, or just go back to working on the game. We're gonna go quiet for a while, and now it's supposedly coming out in August. I hope that whatever funding they ended up getting helped the game tremendously, because it's one of those games where the idea of what they're trying to do is cool, but it just seemed like they just didn't have enough money to do it.
Didn't we first see it in PAX East 2013 or 14, I think?
It was a while ago now, yeah.
And at that point, that's when we thought it was that narrative-driven thing, and it was like a combat brawler with a narrative.
Yeah.
I was a little bit excited for it, kind of, but...
Oh, no, sorry, let me jump in. Compulsion was acquired by Microsoft this year. which was just recently. So then like Gearbox is publishing it, but then Microsoft acquired the studio.
Yeah, so there's a lot going on. I don't remember. And apparently, like, I just out of curiosity, I went to the store page, and it's still in early access, so you still can buy it. It looks like, and recent reviews are all very positive.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
The past 31 recent reviews. So
great.
I mean, that's a good sign. I'm actually tempted to jump back in maybe after this and just see what's changed.
Yeah. Well, just like they did, we've spent a weird amount of time talking about it.
Yeah.
So move on. They're releasing 3 fucking Gears games. They got the Gears Pop, Gears Tactics on mobile, and then of course proper Gears 5, which is going to be an Xbox exclusive as well. Anybody excited for Gears 5?
Not really.
I'm kind of in for Gears Tactics, honestly.
Really? Okay.
I'll give it a chance at least, because I don't really care about the theming of those games at all. I'm just in for more
Tactics.
XCOM, more or less, yeah.
You know, like the bromance element of it.
I've never played a Gears game at all.
Oh,
so
really?
High-fiving and chainsawing.
I have like no idea.
All
What
right.
I know, they shoot aliens, and the aliens are called
The Locusts.
the Locusts.
Wow,
That's right.
there you go.
Yeah, I was gonna say Berserkers, which is not right.
No. The Free
The
Tweakers.
the Funko Pop announcement may have been the worst thing that was announced.
When I saw that being tweeted, I was like, that's a joke, right?
That was like the Rayman Raving Rabbids game of this year.
You could hear the groans from LA. It was pretty terrible.
Oh, God.
What
is
that? Any gameplay of that? Is it just like a Lego
was-
Gears of War, but like with stupid big head game?
I don't think we saw gameplay. It was
Okay.
definitely just like a cinematic that they had for the presentation. Ori, of course, Ori 2 is going to be an Xbox slash PC Windows 10 exclusive.
Yeah. You get like a Soul Reaver in this one. Looks cool.
Yeah, like it certainly just looks like they're expanding upon what made the first one great. So that's all we could really ask for.
Mhm.
More Sea of Thieves content. Her Sales and Forsaken Shores coming your way this
Finally,
year.
some Sea of Thieves content in any form.
What is
That's the game, by the way. Because I mean, as the Microsoft conference, it's the right time for peak cynicism. That's gonna be the new 100%. I guarantee you, the new fucking No Man's Sky, where we never stop hearing about it for 2 years, and people go, "No, really, it's good now." They saved it, and I'm not gonna ever believe them because I was there on day 0.
Yeah. I feel like I remember Jump Force. Does that sound?
Yeah, that was the Shonen Jump game with it's got like Naruto and Goku and
Right.
Frieza,
Yeah. Okay. That's the 3D fighter. Okay. Mm-hmm.
One Piece, Death Note. It's all the Shonen Jump manga characters put in one fighting game. We didn't see what kind of gameplay it has, but it looked like to me. I think it's gonna look like one of the Naruto fighting games, like a 3D arena kind of setup.
Cool.
Yeah. Sweet. Any other ones y'all are?
Dying Light 2, Cyberpunk was there as well.
DMC5.
Right, yeah, they showed
DMC5.
Cyberpunk at the end of the Microsoft show, so we'll, I guess, address that real quick. So when I tweeted this out, of course, one of the overwhelming favorites for what everybody was stoked about the most from E3 2018 was certainly Cyberpunk 2077. It was, in fact, like half the responses I got were by far Cyberpunk, and it sounded like coming from the show floor as well. A lot of like press and media were saying similar things, like, "Oh my God, Cyberpunk!" Like,
Yeah. It scares me.
really blowing people
I'm not
away.
gonna lie. I hate seeing tweets being like, "This is the best demo I've seen in the past 6 years." Another tweet I saw from somebody who saw the demo was I can't remember what website he was representing, but he said he didn't realize tech had come this far, and I was just
those
like,
statements are like, "Whoa, holy shit!"
yeah, when they got a 50-minute demo behind closed doors, and just to hear that stuff, I'm like, that's for my personal like Witcher 3 fanboy inside of me. I'm like, I CD Projekt Red has earned some of my trust, but to hear this kind of praise, I'm like, I take it with a grain of salt just a little bit.
I don't know, man. Like, it's such a common sentiment.
I know
Everybody
I know.
that's played it is losing their minds.
Can you plant a seed that becomes a tree
All
over
right,
the
Peter.
next 10 years?
Yes, yes, you can.
Oh, then I'm in. That's the one for me.
Things that I like that I've heard, I'm really happy that they're going first person. That's kind of a cool take.
Yeah.
It's more Deus Ex, I think, in that regard. The other things they heard that the people said that they've never seen like a street busy with NPCs that's felt so real before, and I'm like, that's kind of cool to hear.
Have you even played Watch Dogs?
True. Very, very true. Yeah, I don't know. I'm pumped for it one way or another, but I hope we see some gameplay at like Gamescom in August. But
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see gameplay until next E3.
We have no release date at all.
None.
It's a TBA. Probably not going to be 2019, unfortunately. I'm thinking this is more than likely looking like a 2020 release. So,
Yeah.
still, though, quite exciting.
Devil May Cry 5 was there too.
Yeah,
by
so
the way.
what the
Yeah,
heck
yeah.
up with Devil May Cry 5?
Mm-hmm.
So we had a reboot of the series, and now we're going back to a sequel to 4.
Yeah, because people whined a lot about
It's
DMC.
just a really strange move. We're debooting the series and going
Yeah.
back to the original lineage, and now what? Pretending DMC didn't happen? I don't know.
Because people didn't like whiny emo Dante, I guess.
He
So-
was fine. He
I
was
agree,
still
he was
whiny.
fine. I liked
He's still
him.
whiny Dante, right?
No,
No,
you're
it's-
playing. You're playing as Nero in the cutscene footage we saw, but probably they'll split it up like they did with Devil May Cry 4, if I were to guess.
Yeah.
'Cause
DMC
you can't not
reboot.
have Dante in it.
The DMC reboot was great. The gameplay was great. People just didn't like Dante in that form. They were like, it's too edgy.
I
Which
think they were
is
just
so yeah. It was like I was gonna say the one instance because I'm an idiot. It was one of the instances where like the audience doesn't know what's good for them,
Yeah.
and I kind of bought into it as well because like edgy young adult Dante is way less edgy than like the 2003 era Devil May Cry Dante, who is like wears a red leather trench coat and says, you know, I should have been the one to fill your dark soul with light.
as he eats pizza off the back of a motorcycle.
Too school for cool. Too cool for school.
No, no, you gotta
too
read the
school
first
for
time.
cool?
For
Yeah,
cool,
yeah.
yeah.
Whatever.
That
So
was
what
the.
What are
Sorry,
we
you
doing with that? I don't understand how we're gonna deboot a series.
Because
I thought this
nostalgia
was gonna
sells
be
now,
good
man.
too.
I've never
No.
played any of the Devil May Cries, to be honest with you.
Just play DMC.
DMC is good.
It's
It's,
good.
it's I think
You
it's
can play all of
aged.
Don't play Devil May
He's
Cry
not gonna
2.
go
It's
back and play
awful.
He's not gonna play Devil May Cry 2. That's
Okay,
just,
well,
Yeah.
don't play 2, but play 1 and 3.
I
Start
don't even
from
think
3?
one.
Okay.
I don't know. Well, didn't they just re-release one with like an HD finish over it for like one of the consoles or some shit?
There was a remaster collection, and I think it was broken.
Gotcha.
Wow.
That's unfortunate.
Well, no, hold on. I think Bluehole might have done that, right?
Blue Hole?
Or no, sorry, not Bluehole. Blue Point.
Blue Point. Yeah, they're the
Point.
masters of remastering.
Yeah. No, they did Metal Gear Solid. I'm thinking Metal Gear Solid. They didn't do
Gotcha.
that. Right. All right. Anyway, there was the trailer that everyone thought was Skate 4 until the word session showed up on screen.
Mhm,
So that certainly looks interesting too. And I think that'll do. We gotta
Dying Light 2 looks cool.
quick. Yeah, also that. Bethesda. Big focus, of course, on Fallout 76 in the Bethesda conference, but they did have a few other things as well. Rage 2 was announced by way of Andrew WK freaking everybody out that was in attendance. Don't think most of the people that were there knew who he was. That's okay. Rage 2 is going to be a thing.
Cool.
Doom Eternal. Not 100% sure what that's going to be, but a new Doom game coming along.
It's a sequel to Doom.
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, I'm thinking of the other game, Infinite Eternal. There was another one that has that.
Halo is
same-
infinite.
Yeah, Halo is infinite. Doom is eternal, and then there was another one that is like everlasting or
champions.
something like that. That's the new thing. You gotta. That's the thing. Now we're gonna run out of words that describe an infinite timeline.
Smash
That's-
Ultimate.
They need to add those to the end of Smash Ultimate, for example. Yeah, like they need like the penultimate. This is everything that our series has to offer is in this box. Buy it. You know, that's gonna
Instead
be
of it being like the Black Edition or whatever they used to use.
it's the Ultimate Edition,
I just
There-
Eternal
The
Edition.
game, well, it was the Game of the Year edition for ages. Was like, here's the compilation.
Yeah.
We need new vernacular.
Mm-hmm. Skyrim Very Special Edition. That was a good one. Speaking of editions, I liked that a lot.
yeah.
The Alexa version,
I
which
just-
is an actual thing, by the way. You download it on your Alexa, you can play Skyrim, which is hilarious. You were gonna say something, Memphis?
I'm gonna get shit on. I know. I'm gonna get
Sure,
yelled at.
yeah.
I'm gonna shit on you.
That's fine.
I'll shit on you too if
Please
you want.
bring it
I'm
on.
gonna take a shit
But
on you on this show.
see so many people say Bethesda show was like the greatest show, and outside of Fallout 76, which I get, for people who enjoy that style of game, they're going to love it, and Rage 2, which I didn't even know Rage 1 was liked enough to get Rage 2, outside of DLC, what did Bethesda actually show?
So here's my perspective, is that the on-stage big press conferences are not for the spotlighting of the kind of things that we want to see, which is live gameplay demos that are actually representative of what the game is going to be like when it comes out. That's for trailers, big announcements, reveals, stuff like that.
They delivered in bullet points.
I guess so,
that's what I mean.
But they have already, for the past year, said Elder Scrolls 6 is in development. That wasn't a secret. And Starfield was leaked over a year ago. None of what they showed was like, yay, I can't believe it. All they did was confirm leaks that we had and reconfirm things they've already said. And then they're like, Elder Scrolls Online, best MMO. Elder Scrolls card game, best card game. Here's some DLC for Prey, the game that didn't sell as well as it should have. Also Rage 2 and Fallout 76 Rust Edition. I just didn't...
We didn't know about Wolfenstein, did we?
Wolfenstein DLC,
or did we
though.
know about
it's
Doom
just
Eternal?
DLC,
It's not.
right?
Well, it's not DLC, is it? It's like a
I thought it was a
standalone co-op
standalone
thing.
game. It's a
Yeah.
co-op.
It's a
shooter.
co-op. Yeah. Is it a separate purchase? I guess I don't know. Is that
I
a
think
little
so,
side
yeah.
campaign? I thought it was DLC you'd buy, but that's
The
cool.
way I saw it was like, I don't know. Bethesda is not as big as like Sony, Microsoft, or Nintendo. For them to officially announce Rage 2, a new Wolfenstein-ish game, a new Doom, Starfield, which is a totally new IP, Fallout 76, and then also be like, we're making a new Elder Scrolls is pretty big for one publisher to come out and say all that stuff
I guess.
in 1 year at least.
But I mean, I guess it's just a cynic in me, but we're looking at Elder Scrolls 6 at least 5 years from now.
Yeah.
And we're looking at Starfield probably minimum 3.
I agree, yeah.
So it's
So you're saying we laid out a timeline that's very big, and we might be seeing these same things for the
for
next,
for the next 2 or 3 years, we're going to get kind of the same stuff, and people are going to freak out every time.
Well, we'll
I don't know.
ideally see in greater detail these games.
Well, yeah, eventually, for sure. And then,
We'll
of course,
see
the
Doom
Elder
at QuakeCon, which
Elder-
is in August, I think.
Yes, don't get me wrong. Doom was great, and I'm definitely down for a Doom sequel, for sure, 100%. I mean, Elder Scrolls Blades, I don't really give that much of a shit about that mobile roguelike thing.
Yeah,
It
I
just
don't know.
looks exactly like Infinity Blade. I don't know what the hell.
Yeah, actually, I got
They
the
even
same
called
feeling.
it Blades, which is so
I was
off-putting
like, oh,
to
this
me.
looks like Infinity Blade, and that game was like cool for the first couple of them. Did they do like 4 or
Then
5?
they made 3.
Yeah.
What are we mad about?
I just didn't think like it was that great of a showing. They showed Fallout 76, and that's kind of really all we got. We got a little bit of Rage 2, which looked okay, I guess.
Looks like Rage,
yeah,
like updated Rage.
But all we really got was Fallout 76, the entire thing, as far as gameplay is concerned. Like actual showing, I walked away unimpressed, just being like, yeah, we kind of knew all of this already, I guess. But
It lacked in substance. I guess I agree with that.
And I was just kind of sick of. I don't know. It's I get it, chat. It's personal preference, but Todd Howard just jerking himself off the entire time.
Todd
It's like,
Howard, woo!
name a better panel. I thought Ubisoft's was better, personally. But
Let's talk about Ubisoft's then. How's
Sure.
that sound?
if you want to jump over to Ubisoft,
You got Mario, Rabbids Kingdom Battle, Donkey Kong Adventure.
What did you just say?
Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle, Donkey Kong Adventure.
Oh,
Mario.
no, that's what
DLC
you said.
for
And
more
the
of that.
Rabbids combined
That game's
with
like
Donkey
you know,
Kong.
People liked the game went over well. People
That
liked
game's
it.
good. Yeah,
That's good.
Yeah.
They had updates for Rainbow Six Siege, of course. The Division 2 is going to be a thing.
That trailer was bad.
It's set in Washington, D.C. And,
The gardens, the rooftops are on the gardens. The gardens are on the rooftops.
right, yeah,
The other way around.
yeah. And you can play with your friends.
Yeah.
And if you shoot a man 500 times with bullets, what happens is he goes, "Ah!" and then he keeps shooting at you.
Yikes.
And then they were like, "Oh, also
reality looks
raids
like.
in the game." I'm like, "Oh, neat."
Yeah.
Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Yeah. Which,
I'm pumped for.
what does Joseph Gordon-Levitt have to do with that game? I didn't understand the whole connection there.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt runs a project called
Hit Record.
which is
Yep.
always, it's just like a collaboration effort. All people
Mm-hmm.
from around the world collaborate on making a cartoon or music or whatever. And he's doing that to get art and music that people create into Beyond Good and Evil 2. So they're going to make neat art things, and it's going to find its way into the game, which is cool. Neat. I think it's a cool idea.
Indeed. So yeah, we got that coming up. Trials Rising. I'm excited for a new Trials game. Absolutely. Me too. I loved Fusion. I love the first one, of course. So more of that.
Fusion kind of stinks.
What? Why?
I don't remember, but I remember. I loved Trials HD. I loved Trials Evolution. I loved Trials Fusion. I was like, this isn't doing it.
Welcome to the Fusion.
I remember that. I probably played like 6 or 7 hours of Fusion, but I was like, it's just not quite. It's just not the same.
Evolution's definitely the best one. I'll give you that. I liked Fusion well enough.
Evolution was great.
FYI, by the way, if you were a PlayStation Plus member, Fusion is free right now. You should download it. Also, Call of Duty multiplayer and Zombies and XCOM 2 are all free on PlayStation Plus right now. It's a pretty good month. They announced, or they didn't announce, they showed us a little bit more about Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Going to be set in Greece this time. It's Assassin's Creed.
Listen, maybe I'm an outlier here, but I love the direction they're taking Assassin's Creed to be down more the BioWare route of choice and role-playing and options, and less the stealth, but not really stealth route. I really liked Origins. I thought it was a nice little refreshing take on Assassin's Creed. The combat was more enjoyable to me, and if they're just going to keep going down that road, I'm in. I
wish they could just make a desert full of pyramids with puzzles in them and just let me go.
Yeah.
Just like alternate universe, parallel dimension, Egypt world, where it's all pyramids. Whoops, all pyramids.
Whoops, all pyramids. I love it.
I'm with you, honestly. I think like the announcement and what they showed of the new Assassin's Creed is the closest thing to making me excited about an Assassin's Creed game in like literally 6 years.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So surprising to me still. I think back to like when the first one came out, and if you had told me back then that this game would spawn an 11 game franchise, I'd be like, really? Oh,
same.
All right. Anyway,
Skull and Bones.
Starlink.
Starlink.
Fucking Battle for Atlas, which looked cool until the toys showed up.
I could not watch that and think, smart idea, guys. Let's jump into the Toys to Life thing after Dimensions and Infinity have both closed
Skylanders
down.
Completely collapsed.
Oh my god! I'm just like, what are you doing? Perfect.
The base
timing.
kit for that is $75 for the game and 3 toys. It's like, no fucking thanks. I'm good. The Crew 2.
Yeah, Crew 2, cool.
Also gonna happen. Sorry, I cut somebody off there, I think.
No, I was just gonna continue being I don't understand, but continue.
What don't you understand about it?
I'll be surprised if it sells well. I will be surprised if Starlink sells well and lasts more than 2 years.
I'm excited to drive a souped up Honda Civic across America.
He's talking about Starlink. You're talking about
I'm talking about Crew.
Yeah. You're ready for the Crew too. No, I know you're like kind of genuinely excited for the Crew.
I want to go to the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, sure. There you go.
I hope they have the Grand Canyon.
And then Skull and Bones. I'm looking forward to this.
Conceptually, I am in as well.
Same.
Yeah,
but I've been hurt before, so.
But like this kind of game in particular, though, like by this genre or just by Ubisoft?
Specifically by this genre. I actually probably am a little bit more positive on Ubisoft than the average person, I think.
Yeah.
Wait,
I'm still the guy that's
hurt you?
Say Sea of Thieves.
Really?
I still think For Honor is gonna come back.
Really?
Yeah. Keep sleeping. One day it'll be right.
For Honor Marching Fire, they also announced as well. So they got new content getting down the pipeline for it. Maybe you're right. That's coming out in a couple months too. And they announced the starter edition is going to be free until June 18th. So
yeah, but I've been hurt before. Because like they did this with Rainbow Six as well, and they were like, you know,
just kidding.
Hey, the starter edition's out, but if you ever buy it, it's going to take you 40 times longer to unlock all the other stuff that the paid edition unlocks for free.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I guess it's just with Ubisoft in general. Like they did more to show the things that they're working on. Oh, there was gameplay
they had a lot
for
more,
everything, and that's
just
a
lot more gameplay. Right?
For me, as somebody who's watching E3, I guess that's what I'm looking for the most. I just want to see the things you're talking about, and I want to see them in action. I don't want the hype cycle of what this amazing game is, supposed to be. I want to see what you actually have and what it's probably going to actually be like.
Exactly.
So the only thing I'll speak to on that is, and we were talking about it, I can't remember, it was probably Wednesday's show, but it's all a lie.
Always,
yeah, we know that.
And that's okay. But I will say, like, gameplay that gets shown is more representative than obviously just like a logo or like a pure cinematic trailer. But it's still like
it's a vertical slice, of course.
It's very carefully calculated and curated content. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. I agree with you 100%. But if I have to watch, these things, I want to see what they've at least pitching to us with gameplay.
See, I'm cool with that. But what I'm in for is I'm like, if it's all going to be propaganda, propaganda. If it's all going to be propaganda, I want like the big announcement. I haven't pre-ordered anything in 1,000 years.
Oh, yeah.
But like, I'm not going to go out and be like, Cyberpunk, I got to get it. But I just want them to promise the world. I want them to be like, I want them to be like, we're making the Elder Scrolls 6 and 7. And then a week from now, I go, that's not coming out for like 12 years. But that's okay.
Like, I mean, we could probably safely assume that is true, that they're going to make Elder Scrolls 7, but that's going to be coming out in 2028.
You want like the Marvel MCU's timeline up
that's
on
exactly
the screen?
I want the thing where they just put the thing up on the screen and they're like, in 2023, we're making this game. And I'm like, sick.
They really can't, like, I don't even want to take this conversation too much further, but it's interesting to consider that they really can't realistically do that, at least as the way the movie industry does. There's no way to outline it that way. Anyway, Elijah Wood came out and told us all about the VR game he's making, which blew my mind completely open. But it's called Transference. It's going to be an FMV VR game, which looks very interesting to me. Psychological thriller coming out this year, so we'll see more about that very soon, I'm sure. And then what was Space Junkies? That one completely eluded me. But that's
I don't even know what this is, actually.
That's an exclusive VR game that they apparently announced as well. I don't know anything about that, but that's a thing.
Arcade shooter.
Yeah. So I'll figure out more about that, I guess. Anything else from Ubisoft? I think that's the majority of it. They had the Just Dance 2019, of course, but that's pretty much it.
I think we mentioned everything.
Yeah. Let's get into Sony then. Sony had much less this year than is typical of them.
They had the roughest opening 30 minutes of any conference. Period.
So you've all, if you've not seen it or if you weren't aware of it, we actually did do a restream of the Sony conference. So if you'd like to see that VOD, it's up on my YouTube channel, as well as here for you Twitch subscribers as well, if you'd like to see the chat replay along with it. But if you didn't see that, we'll go ahead and talk about it a little bit more here and now. The Sony conference, they focused quite a bit on 4 main games. These are the 4 pillars for Sony right now. That would be The Last of Us Part 2, which is, of course, they opened up with. And they showed quite a bit of The Last of Us Part 2. Or, again, we'll put that in quotes because it is very heavily curated. But they did show what appeared to be gameplay, what appeared to be your character taking actions, and the combat in particular. If that is at all representative of what the game plays like, that's going to be insane, because that was so intricate. There were so many details involved with the things that you were doing within that sequence of events, like Ellie just dodging an attack and then shooting someone with an arrow who is then hindered because there's an arrow in his arm. I really wonder how much of that is cinematic and how much of that is that is the kind of thing you can do, right?
Yeah, I was skeptical, I guess.
Yeah, I think I am too.
I think it's reasonable to be skeptical, but I think it is possible that it's also actually real.
I kind of trust Naughty Dog to be able to pull this kind of thing off. I think they'll be able to push the boundaries of what we've become familiar with combat wise, and for this sort of style of game. I think they can do it. So it's, again, a healthy dose of skepticism, I think, but it's exciting. It's definitely
I said this on the actual stream, but remember what they did with God of War with that really climactic battle toward the beginning of the game.
Mm-hmm.
That is like that. It's really, really high production value, and this is one of Sony's biggest franchises, so I think they have the money to do it.
I think I'm with you. I think if it wasn't for having actually played God of War, I would have been way more skeptical, but having played God of War and knowing...
The thing about, God of War is so incredible to me now, because I remember specifically, they made a trailer for that game that is 15 seconds of uncut, unedited gameplay of combat, which is nuts that they made a trailer that is that, because usually trailers are even more cut, edited, and curated than like E3 presentations. They just did straight up gameplay of all this crazy shit that you can do, like throwing an axe up and hitting somebody with a dropping pot, and then like shield up, drop your axe, recall it, all the different crazy nonsense you can do in that game. And if that's the level they're able to achieve here in presenting to us like the potential for combat just in that short sequence, if those are the things, again, if those are the kinds of things you can really do, that's incredible to me. That's going to be some next level shit.
And there were moments that like actually gameplay mechanic things do happen. Like she picks up an arrow and it goes into her inventory.
Yeah.
But there is still the possibility that it's an in-engine animation, basically, where they integrate it. But I feel like doing that is going out of their way to be misleading. So that's what's leading to me to be a little less skeptical, but I'm still like 30% convinced it's actually real.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think we're all kind of sitting in the same boat there. Ghost of Tsushima would be the second one that they came around with, and wow, that looks beautiful.
I think that was my favorite game of the Sony.
That was my game of the show.
Mm-hmm. It looks pretty phenomenal.
I'm really hyped to play that.
And we was making that one?
Sucker Punch. How long has it been since Sucker Punch released a game? Was it Second Light? Was that their last game?
Or Infamous, right? Second Son, yeah. I think that
Second Son, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that was 2014, so they must have been working on this pretty much since then, which bodes well, I'd say. That was early 2014 they put that out. So that's certainly looking good as well. We don't know a ton about it, but from what we've seen, I mean, it looked like gameplay as well, which, again, the gameplay for that is looking extremely impressive.
Much less debatably, it looked like gameplay, in my opinion.
Because there were just a little bit of janky transitions between combat and neutral stance, and I was like, oh, okay, that's in-engine, like, actual combat.
Yep. New Destiny 2 content is coming in as well. A game that looked very PsyOps to me. I think we were talking about that while we were watching it as well. Control.
I thought it was the sequel to PsyOps.
We absolutely did,
because it was like from 2003.
Made by Remedy, who, the companies are eluding me now what they actually created, but Remedy was responsible for. Yeah, that's right.
Alan Wake.
So that's certainly up their alley then for that team.
I heard mixed things about Quantum Break. I never played it personally, but I really liked Alan Wake. So
me too. Alan Wake was quite good. The Resident Evil 2 remake is going to be
also
happening as well.
fist bump for me. Very excited for that.
It was a good Sony show, I think, for you this year in particular, Nick.
Oh yeah. Well, it's good for me, but I don't know if it's good for the audience of Sony as a platform on the whole. It was a show of very similar, kind of the same demographic targeted throughout the whole thing. It's a lot of kind of violent,
very adult theme,
gritty games.
Yeah.
Which I don't have a problem with. It's just there's not a lot of diversity to them. So if that's going to be their catalog for the next couple of years, well, hopefully it's not just that.
But I think we'd probably be okay with it for the most part. Trover Saves the Universe, a new VR experience from Justin Roiland and the team over at Squanch Tendo. It was Justin Roiland.
That's
about as much as we can say about it.
I was watching the trailer. I'm like, is this the point where his comedy stops being funny to me? I think it might be.
It might be for me.
We love Rick and Morty, but I think we all kind of got the vibe of, is this... You're still beating this drum, huh? It's not really working for me anymore.
To be honest, accounting kind of got me that way already.
Yeah.
It's just a lazy trailer. Like
accounting,
It's literally just him being like, remember, this is the way that we talk in this. So like when we do things, this is how we talk, and there's non sequiturs and stuff like that. It's just like, I've seen it before.
Dial 711 because this is a weird universe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little tired, but we'll see what the actual game is. I mean, I don't want
to.
You
will.
I'll check it out. Although, actually, I probably won't play this either because I think it's going to be exclusive to the PlayStation, so it'll be PSVR, which means none of us will ever see it. So, womp.
At what price point would you buy a PSVR right now?
I don't think I'm going to get it. I think it's impossible to convince me to get it. It's got to have like the killer game on it.
No, say it's like in the clearance bin for $20. Would you buy one then?
Okay, yeah, I would. So
see, that's what I mean. Everybody's got a price.
If it's lower than the cost of a new video game, I think I would probably pick it up. Yeah.
I think I'd pay $70 for it.
I might actually pay $70 for it too. $75. Hard limit.
I don't want to outbid you. Okay.
How much is it for real? You might be close.
think it's 200.
No, it's getting.
It's
down there, I think.
$200.
It's $200. Yeah. It's pretty good, honestly. The price for it at this point, I'm happy about it. Then of course, Death Stranding. We got a lot more out of that. Well, I guess comparatively speaking, we got a lot more out of it.
Like,
much.
We got gameplay.
It's not about the gameplay.
No,
though.
but listen, this is gonna be, I think, like the core of this argument here is whether or not this is representative gameplay. Would you say so?
I don't think we saw gameplay.
No, because we didn't see. All we saw was climbing. And Nick, I don't want to burst your bubble. There's no way this is a $400 million mountain climbing game where you can pick up a package on top of the mountain and deliver it.
Why does gameplay not matter?
Yeah, I don't.
The gameplay doesn't matter in the E3 press conference because everything is misrepresentative to some extent.
So why watch it in the
everything
first place?
on stage is what I mean.
In the context of us trying to figure out what the hell this game even is, the gameplay does matter.
I agree with that, but we didn't see any gameplay except walking, and then at the end he pulls out a carbine. I don't think any of that is representative.
It tells me something. It tells me there's a lot of walking, and there's
that you can use a gun.
Yeah, and there's a radio transmission.
Mm-hmm.
We're hearing echoes of something that exists only in the future. Like, I'm sure at some point at E3 next year or 2 years from now, there'll be a trailer in which he like shoots a ghost, and then we'll be like, okay, now I know what this game's about, and it still doesn't matter because it's not out yet.
We established something of merit, though, from the gameplay that we had seen at E3 this year, right? We know more about what the game is going to be now as a result of seeing what they have done.
I fully understand that the monster, whatever this being that seems to be the antagonist is, its thing is that it seems to speed up time wherever it steps.
Right.
I didn't fully get that. I had a suspicion, but now we know for sure that's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd learned something from it.
That itself does not directly impacts your knowledge of what your game is going to play like, right? That doesn't.
It informs you on the theme, which can then inform you on the game mechanics. It helps you understand maybe why a baby would be relevant.
Yeah, they do talk about a lot about the cycle of life and death. It seems you'll come back to life, but we won't, and like that constant chatter that they were having.
They were a lot more like on the nose about so many things this time. They've been so vague, so like general about what is going on, but they like a lot of the lines they delivered in this trailer and in this sequence were like, this is what's going on and you need to be concerned about X, Y, and Z, you know? So we got a lot more concrete detail too.
They also let slip something that seemed like a game mechanic, that if you die, it causes an explosion.
A void out.
Which then makes the area you were in inaccessible.
Yeah. So that's really interesting too. I wonder how much they're going to literally play with that as a gameplay mechanic of, okay, if you die here, you can't go back there. That's gone.
Right.
Which would be very interesting.
So now we get little puzzle pieces, start putting them together.
Exactly. Yeah.
But nothing I've said is against that. I'm 100% in for this stuff showing the theme. And I would bring it back to Control, a game where we saw a little bit of gun shooting, but for the most part, I have no idea, you know, if it's an action puzzle game, if there's a horror element associated, if it's sci-fi or more macabre. But
I think
just
generally what you're going to be doing in that game, though, right?
Well, you have a gun. We know that much.
It's an action RPG. I think we can say
the trailer itself is important, and something within the context of an E3 conference, just to teach you the theme. Apart from that, like the gameplay itself, I don't think it changes anything to just know, okay, like it's a third-person shooter. I think it gives you a feel for what it's like a flavor for it from that.
It eliminates so many possibilities of what you thought it could be.
And that's fine, but like, I don't know. I feel like you're gonna know what the gameplay is like before it comes out 100%. We have concrete stuff on the theme, and speculation is cool as well.
But are we talking about Control?
We're talking about Control, and just like
she was flinging boxes at soldiers, so I'm pretty sure it's a shooter.
Yeah, she has a gun.
Yeah, she has a gun,
and
she has a gun. Flinging psychic boxes at stuff.
Right, you know what? Fair enough.
I don't know if Control was necessarily the best like comparative point to make, but like I think I understand that you are trying to say that like we cannot really know what we are going to be playing until like nearly day of.
I'm just saying we're looking at curated gameplay and we're going, what is the menu system going to look like? How many bullets is the 9mm pistol going to hold? It's stuff that's mundane and irrelevant until we get closer to release. It's like watching a Marvel trailer and then, you know, it comes out in a year or something like that and being like, oh, I wonder, you know, what is going to happen midway through the second act or something like that. It's not as relevant as just what the marketing material is designed to get across is, you know, what the theme of the game is at this point.
Yeah,
this might not even be out until like 2023 or something like that.
I've played like 5,000 games, so my mind can't stop going, this is like this is like this. I want to put the puzzle together.
That's the first thing we do is like, oh, it plays just like X, you know?
Yeah. The first thing I'm trying to do is fit this into a genre.
Yeah.
And that's fun for me. I like doing that.
That's like half our show.
I know.
My mind is just too fast. That's right. I just can't slow it down.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'm sure we're not nearly done talking about Death Stranding. I think I am really excited for this game. Like, I am very, very excited to play this and find out more about it. I don't know if you guys are still feeling similarly.
Nothing they showed harshed my enthusiasm at all.
Yeah.
Except for the toenail part. I wish that wasn't in there.
I think it's going to be a very common occurrence, actually.
Yeah, I hate that.
Neo 2 is going to be a thing. Multi-platform, not exclusive to the PlayStation, but will be coming out all the same. So that's certainly exciting. I'm going back and forth on this, honestly, because I loved what I played of Neo, and I kept encouraging you guys to play Neo, and I know none of you did, but I'm not like...
I played an hour of it.
You did.
I actually bought it twice.
Did you? Wow.
Yeah, I got it on PlayStation and I got it on PC. I was waiting to play the PC version. I just didn't get around to it yet.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I'm not at all surprised that this is going to be a thing, but I don't know if I'm actually going to play it myself. So it's again, I'm kind of on the fence there. Spider-Man, of course, one of the big four again for PlayStation. And they showed gameplay. They certainly did. We saw the web swinging. We saw the web shooting. We saw the combat.
Yeah.
We saw the baddies that will be going up against. What's the group called?
The Sinister Six?
Yeah,
Sinister Six. Yeah, that's slick. So we know a little bit more about Spidey now. You guys excited for this one too?
Yeah, I'm 100% in.
Yeah, right on. And then what is this? Deracine? I don't even know how to say that. Apparently there's another VR exclusive coming. Oh, that's the From Software VR.
Yeah,
game.
we have no idea what that is.
Yeah, we got like absolutely no details.
They waited
till
the conference was over, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, a new game reveal."
We forgot.
And then everybody's like, "What?"
Yeah. Cool. Okay, that's the Sony conference, I believe. And finally, let's talk about Nintendo. They announced a few things. Overcooked 2 actually came by way of the Nintendo conference, so I'm pretty excited to play that. I'm
angrily clear my desk.
Online
no
multiplayer.
Animal Crossing.
Yeah, online multiplayer, please. Xenoblade Chronicles 2: Torn of the Golden Country.
What?
Cool.
Super Mario Party. That's exciting, right? That's gonna be like, it is a proper Mario Party game, right?
That's what people say. They say
No
it looks like
It
No
has
online.
online.
Yeah.
And
It does?
Yes.
Wow.
I thought it was only in some specific part of it, not in the whole game.
Yeah, they announced yesterday that there's at least a mini game online mode. We don't know if like the full board is going to be online, but
just do it online. Do a Mario Party game online, Nintendo. Please. Fortnite's on the Switch too. They announced that.
no Animal Crossing. I just want to I'm so mad about it.
It's really hard to play Fortnite on the Switch because you're using analog sticks and they shoot you immediately and you can't because it's hard.
Well, on any console, really, right? Like, it's basically an impossible task. There was a new Fire Emblem, 3 Houses, which is a thing. It's going to be on the Switch as well, coming out 2019. And Super Smash Brothers Ultimate.
Cool.
Really impressive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Looked pretty damn good. They had a bunch of trailers for it too, so in case you're curious about that, lots of stuff to see there.
Literally,
every single Smash Brothers character.
I was gonna say, literally every Smash that's ever any character that's been in a Smash ever is in this game.
I think they may actually take the record for most characters in a AAA fighting game release.
Who holds it currently?
I think it's Mortal Kombat Armageddon currently. Before that, it was Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what the number is for Armageddon, and we don't know how many are confirmed in total for Smash Brothers. But I think they have a pretty solid shot at it if they break 70.
Yeah, sweet. And then of course, Ridley's gonna be there too. Oh my god,
cool announcement.
Metroid fans are very happy about that, although he's very small.
That trailer just straight up murdered Mario.
Yep.
For Ridley. Ridley just.
Did you see where he's spinning the hat on the end of his fingernail like Mario does in Odyssey?
I did not actually.
He stole his soul.
Oh damn.
Hollow Knight's coming to the Switch as well. That's exciting.
Cool. It's already out, isn't it?
Yeah, it's out.
Yeah, it's out now.
Mm-hmm.
Go play it.
And Killer Queen Black. What is this? I didn't actually see this. Some action strategy platformer coming late 2018 from Bumblebear Studios. That's a fun name. So that's a thing. Octopath Traveler coming from Squeenix in July. And anything else? Nothing really stands out. They really
just talked about Smash Brothers for like the majority.
It was like 30 minutes of Smash, right? Yeah. It was pretty nuts.
Did we talk Overcooked too?
Yeah, it was at the start, but yeah, that is the thing.
Yeah, with online this time.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Yep. Very exciting.
I was really hoping they were going to use the Ridley announcement at the end of Smash Brothers because it was the last thing they did to transition over to some Metroid Prime 4 footage, but they're not.
That would be pretty nice, right? But
I was actually surprised we didn't get any Metroid Prime 4, like even a little bit more info.
Yeah, apparently they don't like to show things this early, so they wanted to wait longer.
Must have been a little out of character for them to even show the logo last year then, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure why they did that.
Yeah.
Days Gone is on everything. Still coming out.
Oh, Days
Freakers. Anything we missed here, really. Spyro Reignited Trilogy got a little bit of attention this year as well. It's coming soon.
Cool.
It's going to be September, actually, for that on PS4 and Xbox One.
The Crash Trilogy is, like, really soon?
Huh?
The Crash Remastered. Isn't
Crash
that coming out?
That already came out.
No, it's coming out for other consoles.
Months ago, wasn't it?
The trilogy.
Oh, the Insane.
Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I thought this would.
I think we're talking about the same thing. The Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy came out this year.
Right, but it's coming out to other. It's coming out to other consoles now.
Other consoles. Okay. I see. Gotcha.
Yeah. It's on PS4 already, and it's coming out to Xbox One, PC, and Switch later.
Yeah, June 29th. Sorry, I didn't mean to totally screw everybody there.
My bad. Got it. And I don't even know if we mentioned it, but Kingdom Hearts 3, of course, was shown at basically every conference. Is going to be coming out 2019, or sorry, it's January 29th, 2019. So there you go. Anything else? I think we pretty much got it all. Devolver also announced that crazy-looking skateboarding banana game where you're like shooting dudes off of barrels and shit. I don't know what that's all about. My Friend Pedro, I think is what that's called.
Oh, yeah.
That looks pretty crazy.
Devolver's got their own battle royale, right? Scum.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. That's going to be a thing. And then Squeenix didn't really announce anything else new, did they? There was some new Final Fantasy 14 content. Just Cause 4 is going to be a thing as well. And Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which I don't know how y'all are feeling about it. We're, of course, approaching now the territory where Tomb Raider appears to be becoming a reinvigorated franchise that's going to be releasing like every year or so. I don't know if they're going to be able to keep that up as well as they're expecting, but we'll see, I guess.
I went through this before, but then we found out that the last Tomb Raider was actually in like 2015, so it seems like it was closer, but then it wasn't.
But it wasn't at all, yeah. So, but we'll see, I guess. We'll see.
They're still really good.
Yeah,
if you're into that style of cinematic game. But I'm kind of like, it's like the one that I'm always in for, but am not that interested in until it's out. And I think they tend to come out in like February, and I'm like, I got nothing else to do. I'll play Tomb Raider.
Mm-hmm.
I wish they were way more on puzzles and way less on combat, because they went kind of hard on combat.
It feels like Uncharted, right? When you're doing combat.
Yeah, we're kind of approaching where like this. There's all of these same kind of platformers are becoming the same kind of game, and I want a little bit more to separate them personally.
Yeah. Let me scan through chat real quick, see if there's anything that we missed. We didn't
talk about Kingdom Hearts at all, but also like there's.
I mean, I just did mention it briefly, but the fact that it is coming. It exists. You got Frozen Elsa and Toy Story and Monsters and what fun.
I feel like in order to like really get our teeth sunken into Kingdom Hearts, we'd have to understand what was going on in the game and care a little bit more. Not to say that, and I don't mean that in a bad way. But I
tried to leap to the defense of those.
But I sincerely don't mean that in a bad way. Like in order to but none of us really have a solid understanding of the story in Kingdom Hearts, and gameplay is going to be that kind of light action RPG gameplay that's been in Kingdom Hearts forever. So.
It took me a lot to figure out what game to even buy to then have Kingdom Hearts. I had to I sent on Twitter, I was like, guys, which Kingdom Hearts is the newest with all the stuff in it?
You got like 4 responses.
And I got a bunch of different responses. And then I ended up buying the PS4 compilation, which is Kingdom Hearts 1.5 Remix plus 2.5 Remix, which is actually 6 games.
But why not 2.8? Because there is a 2.8.
I'm getting there.
Okay.
But 2 of the 6 games are actually cutscenes that used to be either it was a mobile and a DS game. But also there's 2.8, which is apparently necessary information after 2.5.
Oh yeah, dude.
Which leads up to 3. And then they said I should be buying the digital version, which is $100 and comes with everything. And that's weird. That's like a lot of information to need to know to play a game at all.
But Kingdom Hearts isn't that complicated if you tweet about it. That's what everybody says.
I'm not saying this to shit on Kingdom Hearts because I played a bit with Lynn and I had a decent time reliving it because I actually quite liked the original Kingdom Hearts when I was younger.
Me too.
She didn't really like it very much, but that's a separate story. And we're probably going to go back to it a little bit. But the story is like really confusing, and I was trying to give it an honest, open mind. It's still kind of confusing regardless.
Yeah.
I honestly do see the point of it. Like, it's a fun game, but mechanically so, not so much for the other stuff around it.
If they can, there needs to be a cinematic that's less than 10 minutes at the beginning of 3 that summarizes it all.
Someone in chat
straight up, just like...
Someone in chat, and I think it was serious, like, or you could just go on YouTube and watch 2 to 3 hours of cinematics and not play any of the games.
No.
I didn't bring that up to be mean to Kingdom Hearts. I was really confused genuinely about why it's that difficult to buy the game.
Yeah,
properly, like to get the definitive version of Kingdom Hearts. But I know that it's, they came from Japan and they had other remixed versions that they called Final Cut, and then they came to the United States and they had different names. But it's just confusing. All of it's very confusing to me.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's pretty much the gist of it, though. E3 2018. Lots of exciting stuff. I'm looking forward to quite a few games coming out soon.
Me too.
Good stuff. Cool. Well, feel free to let us know down in the comments as well on YouTube if y'all have got some games that you wish we would have talked about a little more. I'm sure there's a couple we missed at least. There is one that I feel like I missed that I forgot to talk about. Maybe like an indie release. Tunic is standing out to me name-wise. I don't know if it was
talking about that little fox.
That's the Fox Zelda?
The Fox Zelda game?
I think that might have been it. Yeah. Is that Tunic? I think that was Tunic. Yeah.
It might be Tunic, yeah.
And Tunic looked good. Tunic definitely looked good. I was interested in that one. So, yeah, we'll give that a nod, too. But there we go. E3 2018. Wrap it up. And we will wrap up today's show as well by going around the round table talking about what we've been playing this week. Let's start with Mathis, because I know you're you've been playing some Detroit Become Human, haven't you, Mathis?
Chat's gonna rip me apart. So I started playing Detroit Become Human last night. I played about 3.5, 4 hours of it. And I don't know if I hate it or not. But
okay, well, that's a little better than I was expecting.
The writing is atrocious in every way.
You're only like 3 hours in, by the way, right?
Yeah, when Ryan said, "Oh my dude, it gets worse," I was like, "Oh no." It's another David Cage game where the game comes out and people laud it for being amazing, and then I play it and I go, "How?" Because it's just not well written in any aspect. You just put a little thought into any of the events that are happening, and you go, "Well, that just makes this whole world fall apart." Like, that just doesn't make any sense. And something as simple as light spoilers here for the first 3 hours or so.
Oh, we got spoiler heavy, but yeah, go ahead.
Marcus just crawled out of the graveyard of androids that is clearly there for the sake of having a horror scene, and no other reasonable reason would have these androids just there half alive. and he just kind of walks out, finds a sharp rock, and pops out, the only indication that he is an android. And I just think, why did no other android who went deviant do that instantaneously? It's not connected to anything. It's just kind of there. It doesn't seem to serve a purpose, apparently.
Very ready to hear these explanations.
I want to take you to dissonance level 2.
Bring it, please.
Why does no one realize that he's the same model as many other androids that look the same?
No, it doesn't make.
But it's like, it's so much worse than just little plot holes that don't make sense. Like the whole thing, by the time you get to the turn, you're gonna realize that the entire game concept is rotten to the core. Like
I'm not. I
mean,
I'm ready
for
it.
Built on like a cursed premise, more or less. Like,
but it also, like, little things like reading through the magazines, and it's just like, man, David probably took Economy 101 and thought he just knew how economy works. It's like 40% unemployment rate, and people are still buying androids, and they're still selling enough to make a profit, but nearly half the people in the country are not working.
Just you wait, man.
It doesn't make any sense.
Just you wait.
Or the
Apparently Marcus was a prototype also. I didn't realize it was both Connor and Marcus. Sorry.
That's fine. And then you have the cop scene in the police station where cops are just pulling guns on each other. And it's like, you stop. No, you stop.
So
no, you
that
stop.
Was the dumbest writing I've ever seen, man. I
was like, God, David, this is not how it works, man.
Did you get to the part where he just gives you like a fucking punch in the gut for no reason because you like wouldn't get him coffee?
No, not yet. The cop in the way he said fuck both times was hilarious. He was just like, fuck. And I'm like, what the fuck? He like left the U out of his word. None of it. I try, and it's like David wants to tell like a fantasy story that's grounded in reality at the same time, and he just can't.
Real world problems.
He just can't do it. It comes across, every David Cage comes across like David has these cool scenes in his head, and he will just bend the plot in half to have these cool scenes happen. Like that whole graveyard scene makes no logistical sense, but it's like he wanted a horror scene, so he just did it.
I love that you're making him out like this little kid that needs help. Like, David just wants to make a horror scene. And he can't do it. So let's help him make a horror scene.
But David really just wants to make a movie is what he wants to do, but he's not a good enough writer to make a movie. So he makes games because our bar is lower, I guess.
Everyone help David. He can't do it.
I just can't not see it. It's like the title of a children's book. David wants to make a movie.
It's just bad writing from the start, and it just immediately pulled me. Everybody's on like hot pepper flakes, the drug. Like everybody's loving like red ice, the hot like that.
Better than blue ice.
Then like the world hates androids so much. So you have to have me believe that the world hates androids so much, yet people are still buying them all the time, to the point where like anytime you interact with anyone that's not an android, they're like, "Fuck you, android." Everyone, everyone hates you.
It's like tweeting about how much you hate Twitter.
Or the dude dies from a heart attack, and the guy's just like, Android did it, and they just fucking unload on you.
Immediately just
like, that was ridiculous.
What the fuck are you doing? That doesn't make any sense. And that's where my brain's like, David wanted to have a creepy horror scene. He had no way in his mind to do it. We literally just saw an android get arrested and not shot, but not here. And it's like, oh, but it's the police and commentating on racism in America. Yeah, but you have to have like a baseline first. You can't just get to crazy right out the gate. It's like, and the guy looked like a mouth, and I was just like, oh, mouth pointed at the android, and he just shot the android.
You are gonna lose your fucking mind.
I'm not ready.
If you're like when I was 3.5 hours in, I was like, man, somebody held David back a little bit, and it was like I was sort of in. It goes I did 5 sessions, and every session was just like a different David handled it.
A different Davidism.
And like I knew the subtlety was gonna be about as subtle as, like we said, like a brick to the face, but it was just like the bus shows up, then the doors open and there's Android only, and they go in the back, and I'm like, oh, they ride in the back of the bus, I get it. Then the door shuts, and then you see Android only sign. And then you see Android only banner, and you see the androids have to stand, and they don't get to sit. And it was just like, do you get the metaphor for racism in our game?
That is actually like subtle.
for
by
David
this
Cage.
game, by the end of the game, that is like subtlety. I won't spoil it for you, but there is some stuff. It gets 10 times more heavy-handed than that by the end of the game.
The end of it, and Marcus is like, I will become the master. And I'm like, all right, my dude, fucking relax.
Did you like how Todd, his solution to being like an unemployed drug addict is to then buy an $8,000 nanny?
Yes! That was the first thing I said when he brings back a repaired car. I'm like, how are you affording any of this,
and then you
my
find
dude?
out he already had one, but he broke it because he just... Fuck it, I guess. $8,000. Who cares?
Oh my god! Even okay, chat's saying $800. Even at 800, even
That's
at 8,
still ridiculous.
it doesn't
That's
matter
like,
because you look at his desk and he has bills that are overdue that are like $300 that he owes to these people, and I'm like,
that house he's living in Detroit costs $800.
I'm like, you could just not have this and pay your bills.
Yeah.
My God, it just made me want to die in the inside. I was
hate
like,
God.
I was so hoping because people were like, this is David Cage at his best. And I'm like, I mean, I guess you're kind of right. Like, this is kind of David Cage at his best. But the writing, just every moment was pulling me out of it, pulling me out. The painting scene with Marcus having to paint. And I'm like, this is as heavy-handed as you could possibly be in this moment. Just trying to be artistic and representative of something.
Paint something you've never seen before, and it's Northern Lion beating Nameless King.
Heyo, that would be a great meme. But again, like saying paint something you've never seen before, where they keep going out of their way to be like, he can't do anything he's not programmed to, but he can. Also, was it Kara that was crying early on? Like she was sobbing. One of the androids was sobbing. I'm like, so they specifically built tear ducts into these androids?
Yeah, so you can see them suffer.
To like give them emotion, even though they're not supposed to feel emotion.
And then we can let you just shit on this game infinitely, to be honest. I want to reel you in a little bit.
It just a lot of things. I was just like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Where is this, like, where are we at in this world? Because none of it makes sense.
Yeah. I'm excited for you to finish it, because if you're this pissed off right now, it is going to be quite.
I was pausing the game like every 30 minutes and just ranting. I'm like, this doesn't make any fucking sense.
I still had fun with it.
Yeah. I'm still like, I mean, I haven't played it for a little while, but I was on my way halfway through a second playthrough, so I have my fun with it still.
It's very pretty, though.
It is pretty. Yeah.
It's very, very pretty. Oh, and then the main menu android, I'm like, oh, she's going to deviant, isn't she? She's going to, like, talk to me and be like, I see you've been playing Castlevania.
In kind of an interesting way, I thought, man.
Right,
I was on board with that.
We'll see.
I want to talk a little bit about budget cuts. Go ahead and go into VR Zone for me real quick.
Oh, I thought you weren't going to pay us as much.
What?
All right.
Now Mathis does that now. Enter VR Zone with me, Chad, as it is time to talk about budget cuts.
All right, let's do it.
Because this is my what I've been playing this week. It just came out yesterday, I believe. I know I say this about literally every VR game I talk about on this show, but it's for a reason. But this is the best VR game I've played so far, for sure. Budget Cuts is wonderful. It feels like near Valve quality of game so far for me. So I'm like about an hour into it. And what it is, it's a robo stealth game where you start out in this office setting and you're surrounded by robot coworkers who are all just kind of yapping and hammering away at whatever it is they're doing. And then you get this pager delivery and you answer the phone and this lady tells you got to escape. And she gives you the key to unlock the crate that has the translocator in it. And the translocator is a great mobility solution for VR. It does a really good job at not only eliminating the issue of mobility, obviously, because you have to figure out a way to teleport yourself from place to place, but it does it in a way that feels so intuitive once you begin to realize how quickly you can switch from thing to thing. So it's a selectable item in the menu. So like you push that button above the touchpad, and then it gives you the option to either equip the translocator, the grip tool, or this magnifying glass, which allows you to like look at items and see what they do and see descriptions about them and things like that. With the translocator, though, it's just a gun that shoots portal gun style, and you can shoot and aim for where you want to go. So it actually utilizes that really well, because at the very beginning of the game, what you end up having to do is stand at a third floor window and shoot across the street into a different building and like try to aim it so that you get the thing to land where you want to go. And you begin to realize, oh, that's going to become a mechanic that gets employed very commonly because you need to be able to like move around and stealthily navigate through these buildings and avoid these robots and try to get where you need to go. So it does that along with having just very, easy, intuitive VR controls, being able to pick up things and interact with things all feels very fluid and intuitive, which I suppose should just kind of be an assumed thing at this point about these VR games, but I find still there are a few of them that don't quite nail it. And the fact that they've gotten this one-to-one to be able to make you feel like you're completely in there, in like the immersion is nailed, is really satisfying still too. But so far, like it's really got me hooked in the fact that not only is it a good VR game, it's a well done VR experience, but it's also got like an interesting story, and the gameplay is fun, and like I want to see where it goes, which is unique for these VR games for sure. Like there's probably only like the gallery, and let me even like look at my list of like VR games I played recently that made me feel that way. None. Maybe the gallery might be the only one that has really gotten me interested and been like, oh yeah, I want to see how this progresses, see what happens next. Budget Cuts is doing that for me. So really,
I remember playing the demo for it a while back and really being impressed with the demo. So I'm glad to hear that the full game is as good as I was hoping it was going to be.
Yeah. People are saying Beat Saber. I'm not talking about Beat Saber. Obviously, I still love Beat Saber. That didn't have like a story though. I'm talking about like games that captivated me in VR that made me want to proceed and figure out what's going on with it. And Budget Cuts definitely is that. So yeah, I highly recommend it. As I mentioned, it came out yesterday. It's $30. It's a really good time. It's also playable sitting down. So
oh sweet.
Maybe if that sells you guys a little bit more on it, it'd be a little easier to hop in and play, but probably not. But I tried. All right. Nick, what have you been playing this week?
I kind of already shot my load with the Kingdom Hearts thing. That was mostly it, really. Yeah. Not much else to talk about other than Realm Royale, which I said was pretty good.
Yeah.
The point of me getting into Kingdom Hearts was I was hoping that if Lynn really loved it, it was going to be like a fun nostalgia trip to get through 1 again, and then I was probably going to play through 2.
Yeah.
But I couldn't get past like an hour of 2 when I originally played it because it just
opening is so long.
went into
crawls, dude.
It went into like skateboarding time, and then there's like a lot of cutscenes with the like black hooded the council members,
right?
And I don't really remember why they're there, but they seem to like to talk a lot.
Organization 13.
Yeah.
Yep.
How long does it take before you like go to the Disney worlds?
Like 5 fucking hours.
5 hours?
It's ridiculous.
Damn, dude. That sucks. And the other thing is when we were streaming the first one, every part, people were like, don't worry, this is the worst part of the game. And they said that for 4 hours. Yeah. Every place we went, they're like, this is the worst part of the game. Don't worry, it gets better. We went to the next place. Nope, this is the worst part. You can't do that. You got to pick one worst part. But I know you're not individual people. You are individual people saying you hated that part. I understand. I'm just saying.
It's like back when that came out, people were shitting on the intro to Kingdom Hearts 2. It was like, why is this so long and slow? We don't want this.
You gotta
because not everybody played like the 2 or 3 mobile games or like handheld games that came out between Kingdom Hearts 1 and Kingdom Hearts 2, which explains Roxas and all that nonsense. So they had to explain it in the main.
Roxas does exist. He's inside my heart. Brian, what'd you play?
Play Realm Royale and Jurassic World Evolution, and I played some NHL 18 because we're murdering Fortnite and replacing it with NHL 18. That is a hockey game. It is the hockey game on the market right now.
Yep.
Which,
people are buying it.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah,
is it the only hockey game in the market?
If you want to play 3D hockey, that is the game that you are going to be researching, is what I will say about that. That is the ice hockey.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Hope you enjoyed our E3 2018 recap. Do you have anything else, or are you good? You good?
Yeah, I think I'm done.
All right, cool. Right on. Thanks for watching, everybody. Appreciate your time here on Roundtable Live, twitch.tv/Roundtable Podcast, every Friday at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We all going to be here next week?
No.
He's going to be gone. All right. We'll do the show anyway. Yeah, I'll be here next week talking about what we'll talk about. I've got a couple games I know I'm going to play this coming week. When does Pool Panic come out, actually? I don't know if that's soon. That is no information yet. Okay, never mind. Not that one. But there'll be other games that we'll be talking about next week and whatever other news comes our way. Thank you very much for watching. Please follow here if this is your first time watching the show. We certainly appreciate that here on twitch.tv/Roundtable Podcast. Also, follow us on Twitter at RoundtablePC to be notified when we go live over there as well. And you can discuss the show over on our subreddit. That's roundtablepodcast.reddit.com. And, of course, catch the VOD as well on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/BearTaffy the next day. Want to thank very much those of you who are supporting us over on patreon.com/roundtable. Thank you so much for pledging, even if it's just a few bucks a month over there on patreon.com/roundtable. It does go a great ways in supporting us on the show and keeping us going. So thank you very much to those of you who have been supporting at that $20 tier and above, which include
Dork Lord, Julian Avelsgard, Scotty119, Ricky Grist, Renee I butchered your last name. Cass Squashy Brizzle.
I struggled. Yeah,
Mediocrities, Justin, Jin Falco, Simmerfet, Eric Schooley, Stephen Aoki, that's my real name, not unironic, James Peed, Peter Sunson, Ella Spice, John Kalchik, Otamaz, Games BR, Cowboy Chemist, Jakar Sampson, Call Noir, Talks to All, Kobe Klein, Greenlight, and Oren Saltzman, and of course for the subscribers for today, Rucario Man, Seth P, Hotter356, Last Bell, Wing Wang Has, Worm Basilisk, The Muzzmaff, and Devastating Wake.
Good job, man.
Yeah, I do my best.
You'll get there in a couple of years. You'll be flying through them.
Yeah, one day. One day.
Thank you so much, by the way. We have gotten a pretty big influx in Twitch subs over here on the Roundtable Podcast channel. So thank you very much for using your Twitch Prime token over here. If you got nobody else you want to throw it to, of course, we're happy to take it. Thank you very much for that support, everybody. And thank you for watching. We'll be back next week, and we'll see you then. Goodbye.
Bye.